this storm is getting pretty bad, and I can't afford to stay out here overnight because I have to work tomorrow. I'm going to pack back up and get the hell out of here because I don't want to get snowed in. Wind gusts probably up to 25, 30 miles an hour maybe. Well, we are out in it now. So they said it was going to be a nice day out. At least it was yesterday. Pacific Crest Trail here. Looking for a place to shelter up. Pretty desolate looking place. Maybe under those trees right there. Just above Wrightwood. Northeast of Mount Baldy. Wind gusts probably up to 25, 30 miles an hour maybe. Well, we are out in it now. Like right here. Sort of flat. Can't feel anything with these gloves on. Let's see what we got here. This is pretty level, actually. Not really worried about the drainage because it's pretty frozen. But this is a kind of a downhill slump. Actually, the backside of this tree. Another big dip though. Not much to really tamp down per se. But I mean, there's not really that big of a avalanche threat. The snow's not very deep and it's crusty. It's not very powdery at all. So that's the biggest worry, is ice falling from these trees onto any shelter. Ice from these boughs here in the wind. But I mean, it's pretty negligible based off of the strength of the shelter that I build. And right now, this right here is looking pretty snug. This area right here. I know you can't tell the depth or anything like that because of the even lighting, but there's a little dip right there at the base of the tree. High ground over here by my pack, and high or gentle slope coming in here. So I figure if I set something up like right here, I should be snug as a bug laying against the tree based off of how I set up my shelter. So let's get hot with that. I'm gonna see what I can do. I do got the shovel. Maybe I can level this out a little bit more, make it flatter for my experience, sleeping experience here. Tamping it down a bit with the Atlas 130s. Using these crampons on the bottom of the snowshoes here to really dig in. All right. All right, well, there it is. The space. And it is what it is. It's not going to be perfectly flat, of course. And right now, I've just got it built to my size. But yeah, don't forget to size it, right? Yep. Right in there. Kind of cozy. Nice. Question is, what did you bring to bivvy up in an emergency? That's the big question. What did you bring to bivvy up? All right, so there was an article a news article a couple weeks ago about a snowboarder that got stuck out in the boonies, and the thing is he hardly had anything with him, and he had to get rescued. I mean, if you're going out snowboarding or skiing or whatever, snowshoeing like I am, you can't plan for everything, but knowing your area and what the weather is, you should be prepared for that, and you should be prepared to spend the night. At least that's my attitude. You can't bring everything. This thing pretty much has everything. Although I tried to go as light as possible, but I wasn't really too successful. But the first level of protection is what you're wearing, right? So Gore-Tex shell. I'm wearing a Patagonia R1 hoodie, it's got micro fleece. I don't know if you can see it. It's got this micro fleece waffle pattern all over it. So, and then underneath that, I got Equix level 1 silk layer next to skin base layer thing going on. So, right now I'm rigged for athletic activity, and I run hot, so I know I'm going to sweat. But when I stop, that's when the danger occurs. That's when hyperthermia can occur. So I got to be prepared for that. And so what is the level of your preparedness? And I'm not trying to one-up anybody, because I know I pack a lot of stuff, even on a simple overnighter like this. So, and I brought everything as much as I could just to illustrate different layers, right? So, big fleece jacket, a down jacket, as an outer layer. So on top of the once I get camp set up, I have these other layers that are going to help protect me from the environment. But what do you bring to spend the night? Okay, so I've got a bivvy here. I'm going to break these out and see if I can build a bivvy sleeping bag liner. Poncho liner, and I do have a blow-up air mattress, which does have a significant R rating, so reflectance rating, so it reflects your body heat. I do have a shelter. We'll mess with that later if we have time, because it is getting pretty nasty out here. All right, let's see where we can go with a bivvy system here without a shelter. Hey, ladies and germs, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, I have to work tomorrow. So I cannot ride this out. This looks awesome, but this storm is getting pretty bad, and I can't afford to stay out here overnight because I have to work tomorrow. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to cut this short. And DD Mao back to the Jeep. I'm not sure how the roads are gonna be, and I don't know how long this is gonna last. So I've got to go probably about 3 Ks back down the Pacific Crest Trail, back to Inspiration Point up there on Highway 2, above Wrightwood. That's where I'm at. So I'm gonna go ahead and pack it up and call this a no-go for now. Hopefully I'll be able to get back out here while the snow is still on. This is a struggle to get out in this stuff when it's here. It's never here. And luckily we're having some kind of, El Nino kind of thing going on with the winter weather this year, which is awesome. But because I can't stay out overnight, I have to be back to work at 06 tomorrow morning, so I can't afford to spend the night out here. By the time I get out of here in the morning, I'll be late for work. So, but yeah, think about your layering, and what you bring out with you to still maximize your enjoyment of the outdoors, but still be prepared. I guess that's the thing. I see young guys and they just want to ride down the mountain, or they go backcountry snowboarding or skiing or something, and they don't bring enough stuff. They're not prepared for it. And my thing is just be prepared. Be prepared for what you're going to encounter, because you can easily encounter this kind of stuff out there, and it's no bueno if you're not ready, especially if you have little ones. If you have little ones, I know they don't make the kind of gear that they do for adults for kids, but I'll refer you back to that extreme survival episode with Ray Mears, where he talked about that Air Force guy in Europe who brought out his 10-year-old son and completely was not prepared for what happened, and him and his kid almost died. He almost killed his kid. And as a matter of fact, he wound up, after finding some shelter, because he did go to Air Force survival school or something like that, after finding some shelter, after a couple of days without being able to build a fire, he left his kid and went off on his own and found a cabin and found some loggers, blah, 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 and they rescued his kid, and it turned out to be a happy ending. But as a dad, that's a total no-go. Complete no-go. And I am not going to take any of these situations out here for granted. I'm not going to take my son's skills for granted, which I know they aren't there. So it's my responsibility to take care of all this stuff. So, I'm not going to bring him, like, I want to do a Yosemite trip with him, and until I go recon the place, I am not going to be able to take him out there unless I know what I'm getting into before I take him or anybody else and put him in that kind of situation. I want to know that I'm going to be able to handle whatever comes our way. So be prepared. Anyway, I'm going to pack back up and get the hell out of here, because I don't want to get snowed in. I'm on top of Mountain High, basically, between the two, just off the Pacific Crest Trail. I found some of the shelter behind this hill here. You can see I don't know if you can see, but it's a hill, and which is helping to block the wind. And then, of course, this big mamma jamma tree right here. But looks like the wind is still blowing, but the snow is kind of slowed down a little bit. So I'm going to take this opportunity to bug out, get back to the BOV, and unfortunately head home. Sucks! I really wanted to stay out here, but oh well. It's nice and quiet if it wasn't storming. But amazing place, but you just got to be ready for it. And I did call ahead to the rangers so they know I'm out here, but I don't want to take any chances of not being able to get off of this mountain in time for work tomorrow. So, all right, let me pack up, be rolling. All right, hey, I'm back on the not Pacific Crest Trail. I'm off the trail and on the Blue Ridge Road now, heading towards the Jeep. Quite an ordeal. You can see the snow is not fluffy at all. It's frozen and icy, which means that all my weight is doing well on the snowshoes. I'm not sinking in at all because the snow's not powdery. So that's good for mobility. You can see behind me, what it's like. You see the wind blowing with the snow blowing, the cloud cover. We're just inundated with moisture and ice up here. So really awesome conditions. Whew, blustery, windy, very fun. Made it back all in one piece. These carbon fiber joints from REI, these walking poles, trekking poles, seem to do pretty good in the cold, which I didn't think they would really, but pretty happy. Everything is soaked, but man, what a blustery time. So I'm gonna do what I don't know I'm gonna do when I come out the mountains, and that is hit Mickey D's and get me a vanilla shake.